Today we're going to discuss risk audits for sport, fitness, and recreation. Risk audits are very, very important in any sport, fitness, and recreation facility. Many times people overlook the importance of risk management and probably focus more on marketing and promotions because that brings the money in. But there have been very many cases where people did not take risks seriously, and it cost them a fair bit of money due to legalities and lawsuits. So what is a risk audit? A risk audit is a process by which an attempt is made to identify, verify, record, measure, analyze, and report the range of risks that may be present in a given situation. The key aspect in any risk audit is to identify the risks. It's pretty much the first step in developing your risk management plan, because if you don't know what risk you need to mitigate, the whole point then doesn't really make sense. So you really need to look at how to do a risk audit at the very beginning. The benefits of a risk audit: well, you identify unsafe features and conditions that are in your facility or around the grounds that you are training upon. It gives you an opportunity to review the systems, equipment, practices, and procedures that you have within your facility. It assists in the evaluation of the effectiveness of the systems. And it also improves communications. There's three principal components to audits: planning, having on-site audits, and also post-audits. In the planning stage, first you want to set the scope of the risk audit. How broad are you going to be doing the risk audit? What part of the facility are you doing it? Are you conducting the risk audit? Obviously it should be, you eventually want to do the entire facility, but you may break it down in steps. Determine the method for gathering information. This could be through checklists, interviews, focus groups, talking with staff, many different ways. Develop the checklists and procedures. You might have these in place already. It's quite easy if you have the information to develop a quick checklist, because then when you revisit or you do another audit, you are using the same checklist each time and you can compare how you're doing. And then develop interview questions as well. Some of these questions might be: where do most of our incidents occur? Do those incidents turn into accidents? What level of injury has occurred in a particular area? Why would that be? Who has been on duty when these incidents and accidents occur? Those are just a few questions that may arise that you can use in the planning of your audit. And then arrange the site interviews, the site visits, and the interviews, and also determine who you are going to interview. When you're on site to the audit, you want to brief the organization's personnel. This might be your own staff that you're going to go through an audit. Conduct the site visit and utilize the checklists and procedures that you created in the planning stage. Conduct interviews with the relevant people who you think will give you insight to the risk situation at the facility. Check the existence of policy and procedures. Look at when they were last updated. Who wrote them? Review accident and injury logs. Right? Also include the incident. So just as a refresher, an incident is when something occurs but maybe nobody was injured. An accident obviously is when something does occur and an injury has occurred. Worst case scenario, they may have been taken to the hospital or unfortunately passed away. Summarize the main findings from your on-site audit, and then provide the organization's personnel with an exit interview. And once again, even if you're doing an in-house audit, I would still have an exit interview with your staff. Many times management does not include their staff in any type of risk management or auditing, and they really should be included because they're usually at the front line. They're the first call to action, so they can really see what's going on, hopefully because they're there on a regular basis. And then after the audit, you want to analyze the information that you gathered as a result of using those checking procedures. Analyze the information gathered as a result of the interviews. Prepare a register of risks, and then evaluate the probability and severity of each identified risk. We've gone over some of that stuff in another webinar on risk management. Prepare a draft report on risks identified and suggest strategies for dealing with those risks. Give feedback to the organization. And finally, arrange for a meeting to continue the next step in that process. So that gives you a little bit of information on how to conduct the various steps in conducting a risk audit.